Good morning. Welcome to the final game of the Indy Reds PUL season. Premier Ultimate League action today here in Indianapolis. Indy Red hosting the Atlanta Soul. And we are so excited to have you here today. As normal, I'm Charlie Lowe. With me is Kristen, KK, Kovic, and KK. It's the last game of the season. We're into championship weekend. It's so hot outside, and I'm just excited to watch some awesome Frisbee between two playoff teams.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's been a pleasure working with you this season. You know, we have a good thing going, so I'm glad to be able to close out the season with you.
Oh, KK, it's always a pleasure. It's been a wonderful season. I'm looking forward to next season. We can get sentimental here at the end of the cast. Before we get too deep and start kind of breaking down today's action, we want to take a moment to acknowledge that it is, in fact, Pride Month.
Yeah, today we celebrate Pride with special guests from the Pride of Indy pep band. So you're going to hear some fun band music. They got all the top hits.
Yeah, I've heard some Lady Gaga, heard a couple 80s classics. I'm hoping they bust out whatever that song is called, Working as a Waitress at a Cocktail Bar, because that just gets the people going.
And they'll be marching in the Indy Pride Parade next weekend as well. So you can come check them out next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the ACLU of Indiana is also here representing, so you can go check them out. If you're here listening to the stream also, you can go to the tent and ask questions and get some resources.
If you are both here watching the game live in person and also listening to the stream, come up into the booth and get shouted out as a super fan, and we'll just make that happen. Want to recognize that here in Indiana, there has been some acknowledgement, some legislation put into place to acknowledge nuclear families. And we here with the Indy Red, we are fierce Pride supporters. We are fierce supporters of all people, of all identities, and just want to take the time to say, you always have a nuclear family here with the Red. Your nuclear family is whoever you want it to be, and it is important that you are proud of yourself and that you celebrate yourself. So if you're looking for family, there's a great one over here, and we're happy to support you and acknowledge you.
Yeah, heart, hands. And we want to take a moment to affirm our support for inclusion in sports. Indianapolis Red celebrates transgender and non-binary athletes in our league and in all sports. We stand in solidarity with trans athletes of all ages and recognize their rightful place on the field.
With that, let's get into it. KK, this is a weird game.
It is a little weird. Yeah.
We haven't been, at least when we get the chance to talk about it, we haven't been in this kind of a situation in a few seasons where we are already in and through to championship weekend. We've played the qualifying game already last week. We hosted the New York Gridlock. We won that game 18-15. We withstood the storm against a team with some incredible top-end talent, and our reward was, we're into championship weekend. Same for Atlanta. They have lost one game on the season to DC. Incredibly tough team. A lot of people arguing that they're the best team in the league, the most competitive team out there, though Philly, I'm certain, would have a couple arguments against that if they got the chance to be asked. When you're looking at this team, there's a couple things that stand out early. First things first, kind of a Twin Towers look to this Indy Red team. We've got Quincy Booth operating from the backfield, and new acquisition, Dina Elimelech, wherever she wants to be on the field. Talk to us a little bit about what those two players are going to bring today, KK.
The matchup between Eileen Beckett and Dina, it's going to be a fun matchup today. Who's going to be able to box out, win in the air? So that's going to be really fun. I think that Dina came in and took Atlanta's Soul's skill level up several notches. I think that's part of the reason why they're here. And also notable missing athletes from Montagna and Mascara today. So those great acquisitions have really helped amp up Soul's skill level, their way to show up on the field mentally, physically. And so they really earned their place in championship weekend, and I think that this is going to be a really interesting game. Yes, both teams are in championship weekend, but we still have championship weekend to play, and both teams are going to be there. So we might see this matchup again.
We could very well see this matchup again. when you're talking about how you look forward to championship weekend, these two teams have radically different approaches after talking to, Coach Sam Jones of the Atlanta Soul. This is we're going out and treating this as normal. This is we want to win this game, so I'm coaching, we're calling lines, we're executing on the field to win this game because wins carry. That's the momentum that you take forward in the championship weekend. No one wants to carry a loss and have that be your most recent memory going into playoffs. For the Indy Red, we're talking to Captain Makeda Matamore. Not necessarily a differing in views, but the opportunity to play depth is a huge advantage, and that's where we're going to see the Red lean today. It's an opportunity to play 25 players up and down the roster. It's an opportunity to, according to Mac and to Coach Joe Nelson Byerly, it's a chance to not put everything on film either. If you play through your depth, you're obviously not going out necessarily calling your 1A, your 1B, your 2A, your 2B, plays and strategies, which is great because when you're going to go up against a team like Atlanta or DC in the playoffs, you've held a little bit back.
Yeah, and you can see during that kind of pregame ceremony how big Red's squad is right now. They have their whole roster out here versus Atlanta's traveling, so they only have 16 players here. And that's going to, of course, have an impact on how both teams show up on legs, on how tired your athletes are going to get. It's also very hot out. I'm looking at the weather right now. 84 degrees feels like 90 degrees, but on the turf it's probably closer to 100, maybe over 100 degrees out there.
Yeah, I got to talking to Coach Jones. She said that in their game against Nashville, the turf beads were actually melting into her shoe, and that's normally the problem with Frisbee players is that we go play on turf and that you got to dump your shoes out afterwards, you got to dump your bag out afterwards, and you still find turf beads in your bed anyway. This melting into your shoe is a completely different level of turf experience.
I've never had that happen before, but also they are from Atlanta, so they're used to the heat.
So we will be right back, getting ready to come in with some first quarter action. Indy Red hosting the Atlanta Soul, both teams playoff bound. We'll be back with the action. Today's game is presented by Tomio Media, delivering high-quality storytelling for Indy Red on and off the field. Discover what Tomio Media can do for your brand or team at tomiomedia.com. We are also brought to you by City Yoga. City Yoga School of Health and Yoga is a locally owned yoga studio nestled in a peaceful residential neighborhood in downtown Indy. Take a break from the grind and focus on your well-being this summer. Use code RED25, all lowercase, at checkout and enjoy your first yoga class free. Scan the QR code to book. We're back, getting ready to come in with the first quarter. Indy Red hosting the Atlanta Soul. The Red are going to be starting on the right side of your screen, moving to the left. And I'm just excited to get this one going. Let's talk about players early. We talked about Dina a little bit. Another player that is worth mentioning early and often, because we're going to be calling their name early and often, Quincy Booth. Fresh off getting the all-time assists record at college nationals, more than easily cracking the triple-digit mark, a record that's probably going to stand for a really long time. What are you looking for from Quincy Booth today?
I think that, especially with low numbers, you're going to have a couple players wanting to take control. Whereas, on the looking at the Red side, they want to spread out and, divvy out the energy to all the players, even You could argue bottom of the roster, I suppose you could say. But Atlanta's here. They have, a couple people, star players that are here that are going to be anchors for Seoul. So we're going to see Quincy touching the disc a lot.
Yeah, she's, to quote her own Callahan video and famed poet Big X the Plug, she's the biggest, the largest, and her throws are too. So whether it's short backfield movement, whether it's, huge downfield rips, we're going to be looking for Quincy Booth to make her presence pretty felt. Kind of looking around the rest of the roster, Charlie Hawkins, another player that we'll be talking about for the Soul. She is the stat leader for the Soul this season, and definitely something that's going to be making her presence felt. On the Indy Red side, a little bit more of a different approach. We're kind of going to be talking about everybody, but Mac pointed out to us that she's really looking for Lexi Thomas to have a big day. Lexi's been playing at Masters Regionals this weekend, so she played a full day yesterday, played a game this morning, and is still here in great spirits, great body, great mind, ready to play. And that's kind of incredible because it's a hot, hot weekend here in Indy.
Yeah, I was out there actually at Masters Regionals, got a chance to talk to Lexi. They were during a bye, though, so they were all just kind of laying down on their back, getting ready for the next game. But for some of these players to be playing Masters Regionals yesterday and this morning and then also playing in the game today, I would be questioning that.
Mm-hmm. So we're started here. Discus have moved Indy Red already across half field to Rachel Mast, looking for somebody in the backfield, and kind of a traditional starting line out there. No Tilo today for the Red. Doesn't matter. Early goal. Indy Red score. Oh, just kidding. Got to do it twice.
There was a travel called on Makeda.
So Disc is going to go back to Matamore. Taps us in, gets us live. And great opportunity for the Soul to break into their zone set, to break into their backfield defense.
What a grab by Shirley.
Yeah, going to be a lot of different calibrations to the throws today when it's not very windy, but it's incredibly hot. Disc is advanced to LG. Inside look.
And you have Brittany Wright scoring 2 times in a row.
It's like when you're playing 21, sometimes you got to hit the prove-it shot. But the Indy Red, quick and easy, clean hold, going to go up 1-0 on the Atlanta Soul.
Not going to lie, that offense looked pretty smooth. A lot of times in practice, you do double score. When you score, you take it back out of the end zone, you tap it in, and then you have to score again. That was just like practice for them.
Mm-hmm. And as we get another look, the one kind of eerie moment of this possession, LG gets the disc, moves it back to Matamore across the field, and that disc sails up. You could tell that as she was releasing, wasn't that she leaned back necessarily, but she didn't get that nice through snap. It's almost like she pulled it at the last second, so the disc sails up. But
yeah, it could slip a little bit too. I mean, it's so hot out there. Players' hands are sweaty. Mm-hmm. Some people like to put chalk on their hands. Some people like to wear gloves. But that's going to be something that we're going to watch out for today.
So Indy Red, start the game in the best way that you can. Some would argue a second best way if you're playing defense. But a nice clean hold to get us up 1-0. And we're getting a defensive line out there.
And also an interesting travel call early on, kind of maybe foreshadows.
From the Red.
This is where you kind of see different cultures in Ultimate. Atlanta's from a completely different region. Yep. This is a cross-regional game, and we don't see them very often. And maybe they like to call more calls more frequently. Some teams like to play on more frequently, so it'll be interesting to see how that tracks today.
Mm-hmm. Pull from Mylink didn't quite cross half field. Some conversation ensuing about where it landed specifically. It looks like the resolution is that it landed out of bounds. So Quincy Booth's going to get us started from the middle of the field. And this is about as great as you can ask for if you're the Soul. There's the swing.
Red already coming out with their junky kind of zone look with an easy D, Annie Mylink.
There we go. Annie picking up. This is a little bit low to Jean Wong, who moves it downfield. Eileen Beckett there, gets big, gets home. break for the Indy Red, and we're up 2-0.
Seen it before. We'll see it again.
And Eileen Beckett just dunked it for the field goal. And if she's feeling that way this early, it might be already time to pack it up for the Soul.
Oh, my goodness.
So we see the swing go back and forth, and Annie just kind of camps herself right in the middle of the throwing lane and gets the block. And then it's just a nice little inside to Jean, collects. And like spreading room temperature butter on toast, Jean puts that throw up to Eileen.
It's so impressive, but I mean, we've seen it so many times this year. You think at some point we'll get used to it?
I hope to never get used to it.
It's so great. I love it.
If I get used to it, then we're spoiled.
Yes, it's so true. But Indy Red just came out in that, I don't know if it was necessarily their classic zone look, but it definitely looked like a wall. 3 players up in the front. And what else did you see there in their defensive set?
I think that in that zone look, the first thing I noticed most was that when they didn't go to Quincy Booth, they were ready for the swing, but Quincy's going to be kind of the key to driving the offense. So they're going to be looking for her constantly.
Yeah, Quincy clearly running the offense right now, and Red is set up in another junk look where you have poach defense. Nice grab.
And there's a goal for the Soul.
And Soul scores, I believe that
was number 16.
Number 16, Ellie Thompson.
Ellie Thompson.
That's the first one on the board for the Soul.
Looking deep, Quincy Booth with a great lefty backhand, pushing it all the way into the end zone, making sure that they came down with a score. So I think Atlanta right now is looking to recalibrate. Looks like Dina's out there on defense. I think that they're going to try to put a little bit more pressure on Red this time. It seems like Atlanta has come out a little slow to start. I'm interested to see how they're going to adjust and bring their energy up. It's hard to play at your best when you know that the stakes aren't incredibly high. That pull goes up and out of bounds. And we have LG looking to center the disc.
So a nice clean hold from Atlanta. Indy Red putting the offense back out there, LG centering the disc. And on that mark, Dina Elimelech, the kind of player that you normally have to trade your whole roster for, and instead you get to increase your depth and pick up an all-star. And we see a little bit of a zone look from the Soul to get us started.
Mm-hmm. They're responding again with a zone. Which, again, interesting. It's not windy. There is no wind at all, but teams still putting their junk zone set.
Well, KK, if it's hot outside and you can force a team to throw a million throws, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think it's a wise choice for sure, especially if that's your strategy to try to get as many touches as possible. What are you seeing out of the zone right now?
Well, I think the most notable thing is Dina Elimelech on the mark is about as terrifying a cup mark as you can ask for, because how do you look to throw around that kind of a player? You don't, so you try to throw over him, and we're already seeing some of these really toughly contested throws create opportunities, and then we get throwing errors like this, and the Soul are going to get their first break opportunity here.
Yeah, we have Indy Red's O-line playing defense.
Soul here with a break opportunity.
Charlotte Doran with the disc. Has Ellie Mellick to the break side but doesn't take it. Instead finds Martha Wilbur.
Abby Swenson is such a big mark. It's hard to look upfield. You can't even see what's happening.
And the Soul had Dana Bedeau streaking downfield, but a stoppage is going to keep the disc in her hands. Red have a chance to recover. And we'll see how this O-line D gets to play today. Matamore chasing Bedeau around the deep space. Ellie Mellick gets the disc back in the dump set. Moves it ahead.
And they have Ellie Mellick working in the handler space. She is the center handler right now.
Yeah, conventional wisdom would say that you want Dina in the downfield space, but she's one of your most talented throwers. She's so long, there's few marks she can't break. Not a bad, piece to be able to deploy in your backfield. So you get Dina on D and Quincy on O.
Atlanta working their end zone set, working their cuts from the top of the stack.
Yeah, great defense there by Lochran to stop the first throw from going off. Ellie Mella gets in the middle of the field, and that's just a quick little flip. That's a goal and a break for the Atlanta Soul. Number 3, Dana Bedeau catching the dish from Dina Elimelech.
Elimelech to number 3, Dana Bedeau.
Yeah, so the Soul D-line offense getting pretty comfortable. And a great job on the switch there from the red, but Wilson gets on and yields a little bit of space to try to stop that break throw from going off, but by the time she's able to stop that and then lock back in, Ellie Mellick, just a quick little offhand flip to the end zone, and that's a goal. It's the kind of thing that she brings to an offense. We don't have to put her in the deep space. You want us to put her in the deep space because then you know where she is. But if she's in our backfield, you have to account for her driving the bus.
Yeah, and Atlanta did a great job running through their offensive set. You had Liv Ford coming upfield for the potential swing off the side. Wasn't there, immediately strikes, clears out, creates space for Dina to fill. And that creates a nice, easy open end zone opportunity for Dina.
So we're tied at 2s with a break apiece. We're back on serve. Indy Red getting ready to receive the pull from the Atlanta Soul.
It's 2-2. We are back on serve. Red is receiving.
And a nice big pull from Caitlin Acock goes up.
Both teams settling in here. Score 2-2. I think people are getting their legs. They're getting their lungs. They're starting to feel the competition. Oh, yeah, we're here to win.
Mm-hmm. And already a slightly different look. LG not out on this point. Wilson in the backfield with Brittany Wright and Makeda Matamore. There's a nice little flip upfield. Champ working in concert with Chuck Wilson. A little bit of a low throw. Goes ahead to Mast. She's got Lochran. Plenty of space. Doesn't take the downfield shot to Wright. Upfield to Mast. Not quite in.
Great seal by 23 to prevent the swing throw from Matamore. Gets it off anyway.
Yeah, Mast to Wilson. No inside shot goes off. Cuts across the field, doesn't get it back. Matamore, not quite in. There's the dish. Shirley Saunders reels in, and that's a clean hold for the Indy Red. Going up 3-2. Matamore to Saunders.
Up 3-2.
And as we get a replay, this is got to be the optimal situation for the Indy Red coaching staff. Able to put a little bit of depth out there, play a little bit of pitch and catch and reset in the end zone, in the red zone, until you're able to put it into one of your trusted goal scorers. And for today, KK, it's going to bring us to our first heat timeout of the game. For those of you who may be watching for the first time, we know that if you're on the Indy Red scene, Indy Red stream normally. You haven't seen these very often, but we're going to be taking heat timeouts this game. Those are going to happen at the 6-minute mark of each quarter. So we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
The teams are going to get a 2-minute break.
Today's stream is brought to you by Discraft. The Discraft Ultra Star is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops. If you are enjoying today's stream, please consider donating at indyred.org or by scanning the QR code. Indy Red is a 501c3, and all donations go towards player pay and travel costs. Continue the fire at Wildfire Tap, the ultimate spot for great food, competitive pinball, Sunday Jazz Night, and Tuesday Open Mic. Check out more events on Wildfire's IG.
With Tomio Media.
Thank you to Pin Vault Indy, Indy's original pinball place. Open to public first Friday and third Saturday. Bookable for your next private party. More info at pinvaultindy.com. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Indiana strives to create and support mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of kids in our community. Every young person is looking for someone to listen to them, encourage them, and stand by their side. With hundreds of kids in Central Indiana waiting for a mentor, you have what it takes to support a young person by hanging out with them twice a month, and Big Brothers Big Sisters will be there to help you along the way. Visit BeBigForKids.org to learn more and take the first step today. Coming out of the heat timeout, we're back. On serve in this game, Indy Red up 3-2 on the Soul. Red getting ready to pull, and as we look at our lineup out there, Kuznicki, Beckett, Mylink,
Soul will be receiving.
Ellie Joe Sorgello, Riley Dixon getting some points this week, Lizzie Tilden, and of course, I feel like we've talked about her maybe most of any player this season because she's been a revelation, Jean Wong.
Yeah, really steady player, but someone who is not afraid to put it deep to Eileen. I've seen a couple of times, I think, during Red's second game was when we really saw the strategy to huck it deep to Eileen, who can pretty much just sky anybody at this point. We still have yet to see someone who has the hops like Eileen. So, I think that strategy, working Eileen and Jean together, has been working out for them. Nice big pull.
Yeah, we've been talking about the pulling strategy for this season, and the Indy Red able to give themselves a little bit of room and get that zone set. Jello, Dixon, Mylink playing that kind of flat-tipped spear. Tilden able to pick up, stop progress, the fake scoober.
And Red likes to put someone taller roster in the center of the wall. So you have Dixon working that center mark where you have the sides of the zone kind of working to get squirrely and get a D on the swing.
Booth in the middle of the field, keeps the disc moving, gets it back. And Quincy starting to play a little bit more assertively, trying to keep the disc moving for the Soul.
Yeah, I think it can get really easy to get lulled into swinging it back and forth instead of taking risks and trying to punch it through the wall.
And there's the fire call from the Indy Red. What a move from Quincy Booth. Gets herself back open in the middle of the field. There's the big old hammer.
A lefty hammer D'd up by Eileen.
Come on, Eileen. What an incredible roof.
Number 97, Eileen Beckett with the D, or affectionately known as Skyleen.
Hotly contested. And there's the second one. The run-through block just needed 2 attempts.
Really strong run-through D by number 5, Jeriel, who's a local. Went to Purdue. Found herself in Texas. Big old kick spike after that, but it looks like there's a pick.
Yeah, from kick spike to pick spike, and that one's going to have to come back for the Soul.
It seems like there was a pick called.
And she's being a great sport about it, but that's kind of demoralizing. The, wow, I got so incredibly open. Well, I got so incredibly open because, I picked somebody.
Yeah, a classic call where you are like, I'm wide open, but that's because someone called the pick and stopped running. I guess we could watch the replay and see if they were within 10 yards when they called the pick.
So players have some conversation. Looks like the disc is coming in on 1.
Okay,
Paige Carver doing a little bit of negotiations, and then Jello negotiating with her mark. Hard first step at the throws and go. Quincy Booth getting a little bit of free upfield, and she is so tall, not able to get into the end zone.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for Annie. Quincy's got a couple inches.
Wilbur evaluates her options, doesn't take it, dumps it back to Booth. Booth looks for the hammer again, but doesn't take it. And
how did that get through?
yeah, Jean and Tilden both there, not able to get a hand on it, and that is a goal. Number 33, Paige Carver reels in the score. And that is a score for the Atlanta Soul.
With their own double score of their own, where they score once and then have to score again because of a call. So I think we're on par.
And wait, hold on. There's some conversation on the field. And a timeout was called before the throw.
Oh, interesting. Okay. You saw teams kind of huddling up because they thought the point was over, but they're actually huddling up because there was a timeout called before the goal.
So with that timeout call, the clean hold, the hold is taken away from the Soul. They're going to have to punch it in for the third time now, all in pursuit of one score. Indy Red are going to get an opportunity to potentially trot out a D-line. We see Coach Jackie Lai out there talking in the huddle.
That is really tough for Atlanta. You definitely want to trust your players to punch it in when you have the opportunity, but coaches, sometimes you take a chance on the timeout. Sometimes it works out for the team, sometimes it doesn't, but that time they were able to score, but they have to take it back and do it again.
So as we look, Indy Red taking this timeout opportunity to sub out for a second D-line. Risa Umeno, Rachel Graber, Lexi Thomas all out here. Lena Montenegro on the mark. Going to pick up Dina Elimelech. Quincy Booth gets us started. And Dina trying to get open.
Lexi with some lockdown D on Dina, but you know how hard it is to guard someone who makes 3 cuts in a row?
Incredibly hard, especially, and it's so challenging when you know it's going to that person. The rest of the players on the field aren't even moving. Quincy looks for the around, and in that moment, as Lexi sees her mark on the disc shift over, looks to go stop that inside throw, and it's just Quincy Booth right around. That lefty flick is so far away from her mark at this point from Lena that she can just dish it up ahead to Dina. Has all the space in the world.
Lexi thought that Dina was clearing to the stack.
And Lexi is, from a pure Frisbee perspective, correct to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes, Asia's got the ball and you know that Asia's going to use all 24 seconds on the clock to get a bucket.
Yeah.
Well, goal so nice. They scored it thrice. Atlanta Soul tied at 3 with the Indy Red. We're still on serve out here, a little over 3 minutes left in the first, and we're starting to see a little bit of strategy already come out from the Indy Red, taking advantage of a timeout to sub in a second incredibly sturdy D-line, and Atlanta Soul holding to their strategy of, we feel like we've got the best 2 players on the field, and they're going to go get us a bucket. Pull goes up. Just inbound, sprinting down the field is for the Soul, but not able to get enough pressure on the disc to stop that first throw from going off to Mast. Nice wide marks. LG finds it through the middle. Champ puts it up to Loughran, contested by Tori Taylor. Up the field to Swenson. Nice job stopping the big flick from going up to right. Reigns to Mast.
Great
Nothing
switch
upline
from Atlanta.
And what hands from Brittany Wright to keep the disc alive for the Red?
Pick is called. Looks like it's coming in on 2. Looking downfield. And then swing available to Champ. To Abby Swenson. Oh, had Champ for a second, but opted out.
Oh, and that one just too far for Loughran. As she was coming out of her turn, not able to adjust her body enough to get in the position to reel that throw in, and that's going to be a break opportunity and a chance at the lead for the Soul. And one of the things that the Soul are doing so well that's going to force opportunities like that is they're really taking away the inside lane on defense from the Red, especially on those upline cuts.
Looks like we have Tori Taylor who wants to make Abby run a lot right now, but a missed throw.
Yeah,
Ball
Jaski
moving a little bit
misses
too
her target
fast.
on that
They
one,
turn it
and
right back.
the red offense
Here we go,
get
Red.
another chance to go for the dirty hold. LG had Mast
Huge
wide open instead of throwaway.
Oh my goodness sakes. Couple mistakes here right now. I feel like there's some fatigue setting in already. I think Rachel got a finger on that. Foul called from Tori
They beat
on
them by
Abby.
number 24,
And
Abby Swenson, but it seems like there was a foul called by
If-
Soul.
And I understand the foul call there. I think that Abby marshaling for space, the conversation is going to be an up and over, which is an incredibly technically correct call by the rules. The question is,
Observer ruling foul.
okay, so this is going to stay with Taylor, and
the disc stays with Soul.
if I'm Swenson, I understand though that I don't know if Taylor had a chance to get to that disc without going through Abby, but over the back is a foul nonetheless. Great defense from LG.
Way to keep that in bounds.
Mast giving chase. Disc is all the way out to Ellie Melik. She's so incredibly fast, and Mast has to turn the burners on, and there's the goal in the break. Ellie Melik to Doran, and the Soul go up 4-3 on the Indy Red.
Tori, Jaski, and Ellie Melik working together,
Score for Soul,
punching
number
it up
46,
the
now
sideline.
up Yet again to number
Yeah, so
14,
Wilbur does a
Charlotte
great
Doyle.
job here, letting the cut develop and putting that disc so far out to space that only Ellie Melik can go get it. And then Ellie Melik puts it just out in front of her receiver, Charlotte Doran, and that's an easy goal. And the Red, down for the first time in this game, will see what kind of an O-line goes out and gets the opportunity to get us to tie this game back up.
That was a pretty long point.
So we're getting a timeout taken on the field. A little bit over 1 minute left.
Seems like we're taking a timeout on the field.
So Indy Red taking a timeout with just a little over a minute left. And I think that that's a really good timeout. Your O-line
Just
went
1
out,
minute
played a
left
really
in the
long
quarter.
point, got
Soul
broken,
is up one break here.
and
What can
broken in
Indy
kind of
do
an
to
easy
advance
fashion.
to the
Once
black
things
man
got
in the
moving
quarter?
for the Soul, they didn't really slow down.
And not like we need any reminders, but it is pretty clear Red is working their entire roster. We don't necessarily have their
I'd like to thank another one
O-line,
of
their
our
traditional
sponsors.
O-line
Shout
that they've
out
been
to
playing all
Tucker's
season
Arcade
long. They've been
Bar.
switching in
Hey,
and out
Red
players.
fans, when the game
And
ends,
so the
check
chemistry
out
that they've
Tucker's
built all
Arcade
year
Bar.
long, which is
Go-to spot for
really
ramen,
hard to
chicken
build,
games, craft
really
beer,
important to
and
have,
baked
but they're
cocktails.
working on different
Check
looks
out
this time,
Tucker's
so
Arcade Bar. Thank you for
we're
supporting
seeing it
Indianapolis
play out where
Red.
chemistry might be an issue here today.
Yeah, 100%. You're also missing your kind of like most consistent O-line player, and it's weird to say that on a line that features LG and Rachel Mast, but Tilo not competing in this contest today, and plenty of players to make up that depth, both with experience, with talent, but, somebody that you kind of start to miss when some of these throws don't connect.
Indy Red sideline trying to amp up the energy. I think Atlanta at this point is just trying to conserve energy.
Yeah, notably, looking across this D-line, no Ellie Melik and no Quincy Booth. Throw stays in bounds. Kaylin Aycock down there to get it defended early. Swing Mast with the disc in the middle. Moves us ahead to Beckett.
Layout attempt. Is that Jeriel who made that layout attempt? Jaski.
Reigns boosting downfield to Beckett. And just too high. Beckett needed maybe one more step downfield to reel that one in, but honestly, love her making the look for that disc. Go out and establish her will early and often.
I also really like the defensive play by Griner, who sort of faked out Eileen to make her go up early.
So 30 seconds left. Throw is big, it's wide, and it's out of bounds. And the Red are going to get an opportunity with 20 seconds left to potentially play this possession all the way out.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that decision by Griner to try to put up a big throw when really your main goal is to maintain possession.
Rains to Matamore. Reels it back in traffic. And there it is. Gets Beckett on the second attempt. 8 seconds left. But that is a hold for the Indy Red. Champ Rains to Eileen Beckett.
But, you know, also we're dealing with slippery hands. The air is thick right now. It's really humid outside. So some of those high discs are going to be floaty and not go where you want them to.
So on that replay, we saw Matamore getting the disc in the middle of the field. Upline, Indy Red win the upline battle in that time, and Rains is able to get that inside track, get the disc from Matamore. A little bit high. Matamore kind of throws her into traffic, but, you know, nice job from the Soul players contesting but keeping play safe. But then for Rains, it's an easy reel-in, inside backhand dish to Beckett, who almost has to come back for it. She was ready to go all the way to the corner and, you know, complete that play. So 8 seconds left. On the one hand, Indy Red tie it up. On the other hand, the Soul don't need to do anything except play 8 seconds worth of possession. Then they have as much time as they want to try and go get a hold. Indy Red, you have 8 seconds to bust downfield. So as I look out there, Lexi Thomas, Risa Umeno, you know, some pretty high-speed players, see if they can get downfield and try to force a block early.
So, of course, you have some of the strongest handler defenders out there, Lena Montenegro and Jam, trying to get a D early, but someone wide open in the middle of the field, so maybe a miscue on defense.
Yeah, Ellie Smith yielding just a little bit of space, trying to stop anything big from going up. And we are inside zeros. What a bid from Ellie Smith. Throw goes up. See if Lexi can get there. No, easy reel in from Ellie Melick. That matchup's going to be fun, and I'm waiting for Lexi to get it, but that is a goal. Atlanta Soul get the hold. 5-4 lead over the Indy Red.
Big, just full sellout defense from Smith.
Yeah, I like this.
Put her body out on the line. Hit the ground pretty hard, too. Hope she's okay.
Yeah, Wilbur does a great job with her maintaining her concentration. It can be really easy to put up something kind of scary after that pressure, but catches it, takes her time to step around, and just a backhand that, you know, not necessarily where Lexi Thomas couldn't get to it, but noticing that the defender was only showing her back. Easy for Wilbur to float that one out and for Ellie Melick to say, oh, mine, go up, pick it like a low-hanging apple off a tree.
And scoring at the end of the quarter is so critical. I mean, it changes the trajectory of the game for you.
Absolutely. So the Soul with a 1 point and 1 break advantage over the Indy Red. We'll be right back with the second quarter.
Indy Red is.
I'm here at the Triangle Ultimate Middle School Championships, where over 30 middle school teams are showing us exactly what the future of our sport looks like. Local, accessible, youth ultimate. At the Ultimate Foundation, we envision a world where everyone has the opportunity to experience ultimate as a sport that inspires integrity, relationships, and belonging. Founded in 2014, we are the philanthropic arm of USA Ultimate. Our funding priorities are focused on fostering access, growing youth ultimate, investing in local communities, and supporting the Girls Ultimate movement and the Del Rico Johnson Fund. Our mission is to fuel a future for ultimate that is accessible to all backgrounds and identities by supporting USA Ultimate programs, partners, and communities. Let's stop sitting on the sidelines. Let's make the ultimate difference for the next generation.
To be drinking water and staying in the
And we are back here in Indianapolis. Atlanta Soul visiting and are leading 5-4 over the home team Indy Red. And so far breaks have been a little bit difficult to come by, but the Soul with a 1 break advantage, up 5-4 currently. Luckily, we've been here before.
Feels like a game of endurance. Who's going to be able to find their legs and their lungs in this heat? It's so hot out there.
It's incredibly hot out there. I think it's a game of endurance also, as we're kind of starting to see, a game of inches. The Seoul have won the kind of close contest battle early. None of these catches are easy for the Indy Red.
Fun fact about Riley Dixon,
And the Seoul have come through with a number of breaks, especially on kind of those some of those run-through positions. For the Red, starting to see some of that pressure on their own. Players like Ellie Smith, showing that they're willing to sell out for blocks, and we'll start to see how that shapes up over the course of the game, because it's hard to make those plays and to make them consistently with conditions like this.
So we have Annie Mylink pulling for Indy Red. Atlanta coming out in the second quarter on offense.
One of my favorite things about pro Frisbee is in clubs in college, so much emphasis is placed on the halftime break. And we have so many more opportunities like that in pro. Indy Red having just yielded a hold to the Seoul, and the Seoul get to come right back out on offense. And the pull is high from Mylink. It's going to settle just beyond midfield, and the Reds settle in with their zone look, stop that first throw to the middle.
Aycock with the disc in her hands, looking for a nice big around.
And great job from Sammy Phillips, getting in there to pressure the catch and then immediately jumping back into her middle line position. Jello hard sells, but misses to the middle. There's a throw up. Eileen Beckett's going to go up and snag that one, and we've got the disc right back for the Red.
I don't hate the decision from Aycock, but when you have someone like Eileen playing the deep, that's a really risky decision.
Yeah, with no wind, it's really easy for Beckett to get out there. Great sky and grab from Mylink. Shot to the far side. Beckett not quite in. And just a quick dump to Kuznicki. And that is a break for the Indy Red, and we get back on serve at fives.
And Riley Kuznicki pulls it in for the score. That puts Red at
unpopular opinion, KK. People say that bookends are only when you get the block and then get the score, but I think that bookends count if you're involved in the score. So Beckett, assist-based bookends there. So we see that throw go up, and you're absolutely right. Beckett has plenty of time to hunt that disc down, place it, and make sure that she gets up and over, and cleanly so, over the Atlanta Seoul player.
And you really felt the lack of Booth and Ellie Mellink's presence during that point. You had Aycock working the center field, trying to chisel through the front wall and then looking deep. But sometime without that kind of senior presence, the decisions aren't quite there.
So there's the pull going up for the Indy Red. Ellie Mellick out there, Booth out there. You can tell that they feel that this hold is really important, and they're trusting their D-line, so they're starting to deploy both of these players on offense. And quickly moving up and across the field, Seoul deciding to go, we're going to swing the disc as much as possible. Wilbur fakes the scuba, doesn't take it. Griner over to Booth. And those are the throws you're looking for if you're the Red, and it pays off. Rachel Graber picking up on the low side of the field.
Overthrows it a bit. Graber picking it up.
Has Umeno for free. Umeno has to go to her knees, though. She's going to feel those later.
Wanted to make sure that she reeled it in. Just really confident in that catch.
Lexi Thomas not able to shake Ellie Mellick. Graber, kind of a spread defense look for the Seoul. Really just kind of looking to stop any of those initial looks from going off. Umeno starting to piece it together, but doesn't get the disc back. There's Montenegro. Ellie Smith breaks free, but not rewarded by Montenegro.
Really strong downfield defense from Atlanta right now. And Red is having to work it all through the handlers. It looks like there might have been a pick called. Disc is going back.
Yeah, Berkeley Humphreys loves to attack that open space when she gets to. Incredibly patient player, but maybe a little bit of extra help shaking free of her defender, Quincy Booth.
That cut, although maybe a smart cut, came more from the center of the stack, which can get your defense clogged and cause a pick a lot of the time.
Graber to Umeno, knocking on the doorstep.
Indy Red happy to work it through their handlers' end zone set. Lena with a nice score.
Yeah, Lena and Berkeley Humphreys with a little bit of shoulder bump in there, but makes the catch cleanly. And Indy Red back-to-back breaks to go up 6-5 on the Soul.
Do I hear a train coming? Choo-choo. Sounds like a break train.
Yeah, Red creating a little bit of separation. Is that 1 or 2 breaks?
That's back-to-back breaks.
Yeah, so creating separation, establishing their will. Now Atlanta's going to have to pick up themselves, pick up their spirits, and follow up with a couple of breaks of their own.
Strategically, we see kind of an interesting choice here from the Soul. O-line point, and they're trotting out a little bit more of their D personnel, but in a point in which you just played Dina and Quincy, we see Coach Sam Jones make the decision to only put Quincy back out there and give Dina the opportunity to rest and potentially come back in and try to earn a break on the next possession. You're going to need to get that hold first, though.
Atlanta needs to steady themselves on offense. They need to really work in a clean hold to lift their morale.
Booth gets the centering pass in the middle of the field.
Red running down, hunting for another break.
Playing a little catch with Doran in the backfield. Finds a space through the middle of the zone. Wilbur on the high side. Looks for Booth, doesn't get it. Lots of pressure from this Red defense. Doran with a huge fake, but doesn't swing the disc.
You can see that Atlanta, look how close their handlers are. They're sort of crowding around the disc, not creating a lot of space for each other.
And you saw Wilbur, who has a huge size advantage against some of these smaller handler defenders. Look to size that up, but that throw just does not come back in bounds for the Soul.
With it's not so windy. With a day like today, I'd really like Atlanta to stretch their handlers wide so they can get a nice big swing off into the center or to the far side of the field and make defense work hard.
And Jello, I think there was a foul called. It looked like Jean thought Jello was going to complete the under, but Jello taking the check mark and sprinting upfield. Sammy Phillips was going to need to dig that one out, but foul called on the throw, and it's going to go back to Jean Wong.
Foul, no contest. Stall goes back to 0 when it's a non-contested foul.
Seems like a foul uncontested in Jean.
And on this matchup, we're watching Quincy Booth getting the Beckett assignment downfield this time. Sammy Phillips sells out, but Mylink completes the transaction.
Impressive play by both Indy Red players, making sure that we got that disc.
And gripped and ripped by Jean Wong, and Beckett wasn't quite ready. Thought it was going to come a little bit more to that break side, and having to turn over her shoulder, that's a throwaway.
Soul gets a chance here.
So Quincy Booth gets it started. Live Ford with the disc.
Let's see if Atlanta practices spreading the disc out a little bit wider this time, which they did. They punched the disc through wide to Liv.
Soul turns the disc.
But Badeau not able to quite collect the throw from Ford. Mylink inside look to Joe's.
Really beautiful inside flick from Annie to bust the offense open.
And a timeout taken.
And a timeout is called.
It's been a long point.
Yeah, kind of an interesting situation here. Indy Red takes the timeout. 41 seconds until our next heat timeout. So they're going to have a great opportunity here to punch in this break by trotting some O-line personnel out there. getting a rest for all of these players and then getting another rest at the heat timeout mark. Honestly, from a strategy perspective, I love that call from Coach Lai and from Coach Nelson Byerly. And while we take this timeout, something cool that, to acknowledge, Coach Sam Jones and Coach Jackie Lai were both, early members and participants of the Premier Ultimate League. Coach Jones played for the Soul back when they went to Championship Weekend in 2019. Coach Jackie, one of the founding members of the PUL, of Indy Red, and now been on a coaching staff that has made it to Championship Weekend and now, done so in her first foray as head coach. Kind of really cool to see the way that players are moving through this league, and we're starting to see them put back into the teams that they once just played for.
Just like you said earlier, you'll find a family here.
You'll find a family here.
And you'll stay for decades.
Stay for decades. Vertical stack look from the red. Great mark from Ellie Mellick. Stops the inside. I'll look to Matamore. Gets switched on to Garanser. Swenson looking for the disc. Gets it on that high side. She's got Saunders for free if she finds her, and Saunders gets the upline with nobody there. Ellie Mellick content to kind of play off and hunt.
Yeah, I think Ellie was just worried about stopping a goal. Not too worried if the strike throw was going to be outside of the end zone. And really smart defense there prevented that goal from happening to LG.
Yeah, high stall count. We get a throwaway there from Saunders. Just a little bit outside and short, outside and low for Garanser to reel in. Booth picks up, marked by Garanser. And there's a stone-cold drop from the Atlanta Soul. Cold drop on a hot day, and we'll see how the Red attack this red zone possession again. Big all-around to Champ, who brings it in. That's a score from number 9, Champ Reigns, and Indy Red, 3 breaks in a row, and we're up 7-5 on the Atlanta Soul.
That was nice spacing from LG. Break throw out to space where Champ could run onto it. Her defender on her back.
So as we get this replay, LG just fakes, and then high sailing around backhand. Reigns gets a little bit of contest there at the end, but able to go up and reel that one in. She had plenty of space. With that, 3 breaks in a row. We're going into a heat timeout. We'll be right back. Indy Red 7, Atlanta Soul 5. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to PremierUltimateLeague.com to donate today.
Red's official photography company. Doesn't matter what you need, we've got you.
Everyone's Joy Photography, Indy sports team photographer and Indy Red's official photography company. Doesn't matter what you need, we got you covered at any event. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or online at everyone'sjoyphotography.com. Today's game is also brought to you by Tappers. Hey Indy Red fans, when the game ends, press continue at Tappers Arcade Bar. Indy's go-to spot for well-maintained arcade games, craft beer, and great cocktails. And we're back, finishing off this heat timeout. Indy Red, 3 breaks in a row to go up 7-5 on the Atlanta Soul. KK, put yourself in the huddle. You're a Soul player. You're Coach Jones. What are you talking about? What are you focusing on to kind of get this train back on the tracks?
I think at this point, it's all about settling down your offense. In order for Atlanta to stay in this game, offense needs to clean up those holds. So because there's been a lot of turns happening. I mean, Indy Red's putting a lot of great pressure on with their zone defense. So they might be talking about the zone, obviously, trying to, how do they want to work through the zone? Do they want to chisel through the wall? Are they looking deep? What's the look that they're trying to find?
Love a little whimsy. It's a special day for us.
I think that one of the things that can be really difficult to do is to lose sight of the trees in front of you for the forest at large, kind of a reversal of it. You can only win this game, you can only win a game a point at a time. So from a coaching perspective, I think that if I'm, Coach Sam Jones, the first thing I'm focusing on is, hey, yeah, we're skidding a little bit. We're not going to make up that skid in 1 point, so why don't we score this one, then take a deep breath and go score a second one and just get this game moving. I think that looks a little bit different from the Red, who, it's too early to kind of smell the blood in the water, but when you go out and get 3 breaks in a row, you know that you're kind of starting to win the willpower game. So we'll see as the Red defense runs down how they start to adjust to some of this. Humphreys and Graber there in the middle, along with Hannah Chang. Seoul swinging back and forth, have Booth on the high side, don't take that initial look.
And Atlanta has adjusted by having 4 handlers back. You see that there's one person directly behind the person with the disc so that they can toss it back and then swing it around. But Booth is looking upfield anyway with Red calling a fire call going person.
Yeah, so Graber settling onto the Quincy Booth matchup. Lena Montenegro chasing Ellie Melick around, who's going to break free. Switch doesn't come, but the throw's going to sail out of bounds. But no, Ellie Melick catches it, keeps her toes in.
Ellie Melick keeps it in bounds just outside the end zone.
Not in the end zone, but in bounds. And there's the flip ahead challenged by Graber, but Quincy Booth reels that one in
46, Ellie Melick to number 11, Quincy
in a much-needed
Booth,
hold for the Atlanta Soul.
And with that, folks, we have reached 6-7.
Yeah, great spatial awareness there from Ellie Melick. You watch her track that down. It's sailing out of bounds, so she has to extend and reach that in. But very notably, has the body control and the knowledge to know not to jump, but instead just kind of see if she can fully extend and grab that. Keeps it in. We see the pylon, and then it's just a quick flip up to Quincy Booth. Most notable thing there is when the Red melted into their person set, you started to see the immediate adjustment you saw from the Soul was, all right, individual matchups, go win your matchup.
I like Atlanta's adjustment to pull the 4th handler back to be able to spread their offensive set wide so that they could hit an easy dump behind and then a nice big swing to break out of that wall that kind of suffocates the person with the disc.
So deepest starting position for the Reds so far. LG back to Matamore. See them employing just a little bit of that kind of behind handler that the Soul used. Zone set from the Soul. LG having to swing, not able to quite poke through the cup yet. Joined with a former hybrid teammate of first, Chuck Wilson, in the backfield. So hybrid 3 wide.
Really tall handler set for Red, and they can just hit those high release backhands, high release flicks all day. Soul Zone have their work cut out for them.
And Matamore's got Saunders, and Saunders doesn't take the deep shot, so we've got the disc on the fast break, but no potential goal there, and the Soul able to kind of settle back into a person defense. Masked there on the high side. Has Matamore going. Nice defense by the Soul. Huge around break to Saunders. Gets underneath it. Keeps it despite the hot contest. And to the inside. That's right.
Number 88.
And if you're looking for
a
show of mental fortitude on that point, you got everything there at the end from the Red. Fast break opportunities and a little bit of going up and getting it from Shirley Saunders. And the Red are able to find the hold.
Tori Taylor trying to hunt down that floaty high break disc, but keeping nice body awareness, making sure that it was a safe defensive play, but sort of opened up that break side throw for Red to get an easy score.
Selling out for that disc creates 2 situations. One, you're either going to get the block, or 2, you force that player to second guess how they go and attack it, and if they don't go up and get it strong,
Shout out to number 9,
often the trade-off is that they
Champ
fumble the
Reigns.
disc
She
and you
wears
get away with
a
the
lot
drop
of hats.
anyway. So Indy Red with the clean hold, up 8-6 on the Atlanta Soul.
And shout out number 2,
Indy Red defense, all gas, no breaks right here. I know that they are hunting for defensive blocks.
Yeah, we have seen the Red employ depth. I think we've seen near to every player. But the thing I'm really enjoying from a line calling standpoint is we are still putting our O1 out there, and we're still putting our D1 out there first.
Red goes out of bounds.
We're going to rotate personnel
at the midline of the
in and out of timeouts. We're going to rotate personnel as we stack these breaks up. You're going to see every player. But I think what they've realized is, hey, if we don't attack this game, we, potentially could lose. Saw that early with the Soul going up.
Liv Ford is going to be the center handler for Atlanta right now. Red happy to throw their zone again. Seems to be working. And Atlanta pulling their 4 handlers back.
Mm-hmm. So Chang looks, doesn't have anybody upfield. Back to Ford. Anna Gustafson in the backfield. Caitlin Aycock in the backfield with them. Aycock gets the disc back on that high side. Has to put it out there to avoid Jello and Phillips, but overthrows Chang.
Turns in on a swing.
Joes picks the disc up.
Joes with the disc.
Marked by Ellie Melick and nowhere to go around, so forced to look back upfield. Gets it to Tilden.
Nice poach off of Eileen from 22 to stop that easy score. You have Jello poached, but opts for Kuz instead.
Yeah, Kuznicki looking for Tilden there, but Tilden not able to get around fast enough to look for that, but rewarded with an inside look. Beckett sells out.
Wow.
What? I haven't seen a dig like that since I watched holes, and that is a score for the Indy Red in another break. We are up 9-6.
What a strong play from Eileen to be there just in case. And I think Lizzie was looking upfield for Kuznicki looking upfield, high stall. Break side throw is usually a smart idea because you only have red players over there on that side.
Beckett making a heads-up play and only had to go one place, able to lay out full extension and grab that disc. Didn't even have to go at chest height, though. Kind of like, I'm going to fall into this one and secure that play. That is another break.
Starting to be pretty stifling back-to-back breaks.
Yeah, as they stack up, if you're on the team that's already low with legs, you kind of start to feel each one of these a little bit more. It's like taking, in a boxing contest, taking those body shots repeatedly really starts to wear on you.
But they're still within reaching distance.
Yeah, the nice thing is if Dina Ellie Melick's on your team, you kind of always have a chance. If Quincy Booth's in the backfield for you, she can kind of just go get 12 assists when she wants to. Ellie Smith with her second big bit of the game, not able to come up with that block. Ellie Melick, and it looks like Gerald just misplaced her hand. Second guessed at the last second and ducked underneath. Maybe worried about a little bit of wind, but
there's no wind.
But there's no wind.
That was so interesting. That's a Midwest player right there who went to Atlanta, who's coming back to the Midwest expecting some gusty winds, and there's just no wind to be seen here today.
Great hands from Humphreys to keep that over the challenging Aycock, dumps it back to Graber. And that throw just a little bit low. It's the kind of throw that you see when things get a little bit jittery there, and the Soul are going to get another opportunity. There's Booth, has 2 players going, but neither of them really looking to make that strike deep. Booth to Aycock. Backhand force. Nice break to the inside. And there it is, sails it up and over, not inbounds, sorry, not in the end zone rather, but punches it ahead one more time, and that's a hold from the Atlanta Soul.
I appreciate the kick spike, trying to get her team back in it, trying to get their heads in the game, energy high. That's what you have to do if you're going to compete at championship weekend. We can't forget, these teams are going to championship weekend. They are going to be fighting for a championship trophy. Are you going to let up today?
We know from Coach Jones the answer is no, and I think from what we're seeing from the Red, the answer is no over there as well. What we saw in that replay, a little bit of that kind of passion that comes from a D-line player is Chang and Smith will kind of look at each other like, man, that was, kind of feels like back-to-back, not necessarily blown coverage, but, man, we've just both got beat to the spots, and that's the kind of intensity, especially if you're a player who's coming from the depth of the roster, that I think if I'm Coach Jackie and Coach Joe, I'm excited to see, because it's like, wow, 1 to whatever my players care, and they're going to look, we'll see those players tighten up over the rest of this game. Kind of a false start, not fully, and has to stand and deliver, but Aycock still comfortably putting that disc downfield on the standstill pole, and we are right into action. Reigns ahead to Mast. Loughran for free, has Saunders but doesn't take it, moves it to Swenson. Swenson gets a second look at Saunders, doesn't take it.
Atlanta running a kind of a poach in the end zone where you had someone poaching deep and another person poaching on the inside so they can switch in and out, firing towards the end zone.
And we're at 0, so Red are going to get last possession here. Backhand force, kind of making the Red second guess some of these, and Loughran gets it.
Number 15, that's
maybe a little bit of a generous gift by the observers on this skip, but we're going to take it, and that's a goal and a hold for the Indy Red.
Squares off the half with another goal.
Really happy to see how Red has done a better job at performing at end of quarter.
Yeah, so you see Loughran take the outside lane, and not to suddenly stop being a homer, I think that Loughran maybe got away with a little bit of a gift there. That left foot may be down. In a closer game, I feel like we're probably getting that call from the Soul, but we'll take it nonetheless. Indy Red hold 10-7 lead going into the half, and we will be back with some second half action here in Indianapolis.
$30 over a cup of coffee. Queen to H5 at the park. Thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, confetti emojis. Loaded nachos at halftime. A spin dash for the win. Best 2 out of 3. And the time it takes to enjoy a slice or two, you can make a difference. Because yeah, mentorship sounds huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big.
Today's game is presented by Tomio Media, delivering high-quality storytelling for Indy Red on and off the field. Discover what Tomio Media can do for your brand or team at tomiomedia.com. We are also brought to you by City Yoga. City Yoga School of Health and Yoga is a locally owned yoga studio nestled in a peaceful residential neighborhood in downtown Indy. Take a break from the grind and focus on your well-being this summer. Use code RED25, all lowercase, at checkout and enjoy your first yoga class free. Scan the QR code to book. Everyone's Joy Photography, Indy sports team photographer and Indy Red's official photography company. Doesn't matter what you need, we got you covered at any event. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or online at everyone'sjoyphotography.com. Today's game is also brought to you by Tappers. Hey Indy Red fans, when the game ends, press continue at Tappers Arcade Bar, Indy's go-to spot for well-maintained arcade games, craft beer, and great cocktails. If you are enjoying today's stream, please consider donating at indyred.org or by scanning the QR code. Indy Red is a 501c3, and all donations go towards player pay and travel costs. Continue the fire at Wildfire Tap, the ultimate spot for great food, competitive pinball, Sunday jazz night, and Tuesday open mic. Check out more events on Wildfire's IG. Thank you to Pin Vault Indy, Indy's original pinball place. Open to public first Friday and third Saturday. Bookable for your next private party. More info at pinvaultindy.com. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Indiana strives to create and support mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of kids in our community. Every young person is looking for someone to listen to them, encourage them, and stand by their side. With hundreds of kids in Central Indiana waiting for a mentor, you have what it takes to support a young person by hanging out with them twice a month, and Big Brothers Big Sisters will be there to help you along the way. Visit BeBigForKids.org to learn more and take the first step today. We're back here in Indianapolis. Indy Red hosting the Atlanta Soul and leading 10-7. Story of this game has been it's really, really tough to stop Dina and Quincy, but you don't have to necessarily stop Dina and Quincy if you're the Indy Red, because you can just kind of go out and enforce your will everywhere else on the field.
It seems like Atlanta is having a hard time with red zone. I don't exactly know why it isn't quite clicking, but they seem to have strategized by pulling one handler back. But even so, it seemed like they weren't using all four handlers spreading the disc wide. That would benefit them. So I think hopefully we'll see that this half, make that adjustment, and also come out with some defensive blocks. I think it's really easy since you don't have a lot of players on Atlanta, you're tired. So going all out defensively is really hard to do. It's hot out there. You're playing sometimes 2-3 points in a row. So you don't really have the legs. You don't have the recovery to go out there and play your best defense and get a break.
Yeah, 100%. It's, and there's any number of things we know that are, also contributing to this. They have a short roster. They've got, they've had some injuries to players that were going to play today. They weren't able to bring everybody with them. They're missing a couple players like Jimena Montana and Elizabeth Mosquera, players of kind of incredible caliber, the kind that, if you're not ready to account for that player, they're going to, kind of single-handedly beat you, and thusly you have to allocate a lot of resources to stopping. I think that those games at times can be traps. They were missing somebody, so hey, we can kind of let off the gas. And to credit to the coaching of the Indy Red and to the culture that the captains, Risa and Mac and others are setting and going out and saying, hey, it's 100% effort, it's 100% fight, no matter who you're matched up against.
And I need to make a correction from something that I told you earlier, and then I made you lie to everybody. No shade. Charlie Hawkins is not the stat leader.
Oh.
But obviously, Dina is the team goal scorer for the season. I'm looking at the 2026 stats. Let's see here. And yeah, so we have Dina with 10 goals on the season, 16 assists, 2 blocks. I would expect her to get maybe more blocks than that, but maybe she's playing more online this year.
Yeah, the Dina known for her ability to kind of go get the disc wherever it is, but playing on the O-line, a little bit less opportunity for blocks, especially if your O-line's doing its job. So as we get ready to get action started out of halftime, Indy Red are going to be on offense, moving from left to right on your screen. Atlanta Soul on defense, pulling from right to left to get us moving. Liv Ford getting set to pull the disc. Just about 30 seconds till we kick this off. And worth acknowledging, we kind of said this earlier, Indy Red, we know that they're going to play through their depth, and we're seeing some of those pieces, but personally, I like this commitment to continuing to play the starters on each line. Doing that puts you in the position that you're in now where you're up 3, you're on offense coming out of halftime, and you have that opportunity to kind of stretch the lead. Doing that lets your depth go really shine because now they're not being pressured to win a close game. Pulls up from Ford. Just barely stays in bounds. The Red are going to have to take it from the sideline. Excellent job.
Large girl is always open.
LG back from Champ. Being shadowed by Thompson. Nice job shaking free by Matamore. Wants an inside look, had a wide open lane, but no one able to shake free of their defenders downfield.
I think that's a really smart matchup, too. Tori on Makeda. Really fast player, quick player. And so is Matamore. Oh, Tori's hunting for that D.
Yeah, Saunders and Matamore playing a lot of catch in the backfield. Thompson and Tori Taylor doing everything she can to stop that. There's Mast. Gets the disc. Acock puts the mark on. Mast ahead to Matamore. Pick called.
Pick called on
and we'll
LG
see
large gulp.
If, we'll see who takes the opportunity to kind of reset. I think that's the thing that Frisbee players don't really want to do is, hey, let me go back to the position I was in. Mast shakes free. LG has to elevate and get that disc. Matamore, nice big break. And what incredible hands from Saunders. And that's going to be in. That's a goal.
Number 20,
Indy Red hold
to
go up 11-7 on the Soul.
Atlanta is still working to crack the code on how to defend Indy Red's handlers. So much of the play comes from the handlers moving quickly together. Also, they all are teammates on hybrid. They have chemistry together, so a lot of those cuts you can't predict.
Chemistry cannot be overstated, and the Indy Red taking huge advantage of that right now. As we see them getting ready to go out for a D point. Humphreys, Myling, Wong, Kuznicki, Graber, Joes, Beckett. This is a little bit more of a mixed roster, mixed personnel D-line that we're seeing. We know that they're definitely going to come down in zone. We can identify that with the personnel. Beckett for the monster, for that deep position. Humphreys, Myling, Joe's ready to kind of go down and be that mark. Myling pulls and then starts busting downfield. We see her making up ground. And there is the centering pass, Booth, Little bit of zip on that throw ahead to Hawkins.
Good read by Hawkins to keep that in play.
Joes seals the downfield. They keep pushing the disc ahead to Griner.
Faking the scuba, which is a potential throw in this weather.
With Quincy Booth, it's just a potential throw, period.
I mean, I'd love to see it. Release it.
High release fake from Acock, doesn't take it. Or Wilbur, rather. Wilbur launches it upfield, has Ellie Mellick all alone. Sammy Phillips racing to stop anything from going off. Little tube action, but Kuznicki gets in and disrupts it, but there's going to be a foul call.
Punches shuffle down the field. Kuz gets an arm in there. Potentially comes away from
No contest from Kuznicki, so Gerald gets us started.
Kind of hard to stop that without making a foul call, because you need to poke your arm in there, but they're going back and forth.
And an incredible rip, but Beckett gets up, pushes it into the end zone rather than just securing the grab. And
man, that's got to be so frustrating for Atlanta. They want to put it deep to their cutters, but just cannot with Eileen in the end zone, near the end zone.
I'm hoping eventually we see them say, to heck with it, where, we see your big and we raise you ours, and start really launching Ellie Mellick downfield. But right now I think they kind of need her to be a middle of the field facilitator, a little more initiating cutter, a little less deep. And Phillips, contested by Booth, just outside of the end zone, and gets Wong. Kind of a nice eye look to that space. Tough throw from Phillips, but Wong able to slow up and reel that in.
It was tough. Quincy, I think, even got a finger on that a little bit. It might have been the smarter call to just hold for a breath, but a score nonetheless.
And so Kuznicki, nice leading pass to Phillips. Booth, we see her set the mark and gets a big old bear paw out there, really forcing a tough throw from Phillips, but great patience by Wong to set up, square up, and reel in that goal. And the Indy Red get another break, currently with a 4-break advantage on the Soul, up 12-7.
If I were Atlanta right now, maybe I wouldn't be saying this as a coach, but as an athlete, I'm just like, okay, contain. Maybe, I'm not trying to jinx anything. Maybe there's a chance to come back, but at this point, I think the heat is really getting to you. You don't have a lot of players. You have a championship weekend in 2 weeks. Your goal is to contain right now. You want to make sure that you can maintain a high level of ultimate, and that's really all you need to focus on right now.
We talked about what things carry forward, and certainly wins do, but so do those small process wins. Hey, can we go out and run our offense cleanly and successfully through the rest of this quarter? Can we, see our defensive intensity earn us opportunities? They may not result in a win of the game, but a lot of game left to be played still. Ford to the middle of the field, gets it back.
And Atlanta doing a better job at spreading, but you see that off-handler coming in really close instead of waiting for a nice wide around swing, which makes it easier for Red to play defense in this zone.
Acock back to Ford. Ford really driving the bus here, gets the disc back through the middle. Here the fire call is going to come a little late, not in bounds, but one more, a little bit of a jumble at the end, but Dana Bedeau able to secure the disc. And the Soul, like we talked about, go out and get that much-needed hold. You see that you can trust one of your other players to lead your offense. And in this replay, it's all Liv Ford, touching the disc every single other.
Liv did a great job at keeping a nice, confident possession, punching it through the holes, not too quickly that her teammates weren't, prepared to catch it. Because that can happen, when you're not on the same page as your cutters or your poppers and you're a handler and you're trying to zip it through the wall or the cup. Those can be hard to catch.
100%. So, Coach Jones taking an opportunity to calibrate her D-line. Booth, Ford,
Shout out for number 81,
Wilbur,
Ellie Mandel.
all
She
out
makes
there
artisan
taking,
soap in her free
looking to
time.
go get a very, very important block for the Red. Or for the Soul, rather.
Every defensive point right now is important where they need to push themselves. What area of the field are they going to force Indy Red into? Challenge Indy Red to make them uncomfortable, make them throw the throw that they don't want to throw. That's Atlanta's goal right now.
OI pull from Booth goes out of bounds. So LG will get to walk that to the middle of the field.
Take it in the middle.
Going to be marked by Booth. Red in their normal vert stack. Slightly different personnel out there this time. No Matamore. Mast. I'll say this. Rachel Mast is getting every single team's most tenacious defender. And Dana Bedeau is giving her everything she doesn't want and has been all game. She is not getting open by the margins she's accustomed to. Disc is ahead to right. Dixon has to reach behind. Her throw is just a little bit too behind, and great pressure from Jaski to make sure that Dixon doesn't complete the catch.
Really happy to see Riley Dixon out there, though, right now, recovering from an ankle injury.
Great defense there from Wilson, making sure that Ford doesn't get anything up line, and a timeout taken. Quincy Booth gives us the signal as the stall rises, and we're going to go into a timeout. Don't know if I necessarily like that decision from the Soul. I think it's a credit to the Red defense, but you prevent a throwaway, and that's the most important thing there.
And we'd like to take this moment to thank another one of our sponsors,
Athletes out there hydrating, taking a moment to take some deep breaths.
Peaceful residential neighborhood in downtown Indy.
Yeah, we are not brought to you by Heat Hydration today, but if you watched College Nationals, you heard those plugs all day. And hopefully these players are getting water and they're getting their electrolytes in.
Thanks, City Yoga, for another year of sponsorship.
So a couple rotations to this line. Dina Elimelech coming out to help secure the hold for the Soul. Or rather, secure the break.
You clearly have Dina ISO'd in the horizontal stack for Atlanta, so you're probably going to see maybe an undercut from center of the horizontal. No, an under from Dina, which was easily stopped by Red because they're in a zone.
Too high for Elimelech, swatted down by Tilden.
With pressure on that big Quincy Booth.
Joe's set to pick up, dumps back to Wong. Ahead, nice square up by Mylink, gets her body in the way, and there's a little bit of a strip there.
Little strip on the mark.
Great job from Doran contesting that. Nice no contest, and we'll pick back up at 0. Mylink, little dad backhand out there to Wong. Over to Joe's on the far sideline. Beckett, no one downfield. Kuznicki trying to shake free. Finds her. And too many players to the up line. A little bit of a collision
stall,
there.
Looking for a big around. Lizzie's there.
Lizzie Tilden for this Red offense is one of the definitions of win with your legs type player. She's consistently churning as we see her go out and get these yards, but huge mark from the Soul forces a low throw and a turf from the Red.
This is a gift for Atlanta because that was a total kind of miscue out of the timeout. They had a call ready for Dina to get an under and then probably look deep, but Red came into their zone and threw Atlanta completely off.
And something interesting we're looking at is Beckett's going to have to cover a lot of distance to stop that deep from going off, and she does.
Even just the fact that Eileen is there, they are afraid to put that. Doesn't matter how much space there is.
Elimelech marshaling Thompson to rotate out of that deep space and then collects it right back from her. Great communication from their leader, and what a throw from Elimelech out to space. Layout not able to secure it, though. And the Atlanta Soul give the disc right back to the Red, who are going to get to try and complete another hold.
Will get another chance here.
Great effort.
After a quick injury timeout.
Very understandable injury call. She's upset, and you can tell. So Ellie Thompson gets the huge leading pass from Dina Elimelech, but the throw just a little bit too far.
Little sweaty hands could play a factor in that when you would typically come up with that.
Yeah, that throw did everything that you wanted to. Elimelech is about as talented a thrower as you find, especially out of your, that's what you want from your initiating cutter type player. Sammy Phillips kind of forced to lay out. You saw her indicate that she maybe didn't want that, but a foul is going to be called.
It almost seemed like Sammy was preventing a Callahan from happening.
Yeah, almost defense rather than offense in that kind of a situation. And if that is in fact what we saw, then great heads-up play from Phillips to prevent the Callahan, because that's the kind of thing that could really turn momentum for a team.
It's a red timeout.
So Indy Red going to take a timeout here.
In the meantime,
Yeah, so that timeout happened before that potential Callahan, which was a smart coaching call by Coach Jackie.
A Pride of Indy Band's 21st anniversary concert. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Monday, June 8th, again, which is tomorrow. It is at the Warren Performing Arts Center in Indianapolis. And it's going to be a really awesome event, so you should pull up to support the Indy band.
We have Red setting up their offensive set already. They get to set up their offense before Atlanta gets to come match up against the players. And you have LG and Champ in the backfield with Makeda Matamor top of the stack.
Elimelech gets that foot up, stops that look from going. LG, huge swing. She's got Mast. Mast able to get up and underneath that. What a great throw from LG.
Textbook throw to lead Rachel to space.
And you see Mast start to take off from forward, and we'll see if she gets rewarded. 3 downfield defenders stop that from going off from right.
Spicy grab from Dixon. She's out there to prove something, She's been resting all season long to get that ankle back in shape. She's out here to play.
Yeah, she's forcing Wilbur to really expend energy as you see her kind of able to get way open, and Wilbur's having to start make decisions about where she wants to go in order to, challenge Dixon. Do I challenge the catch? Do I challenge the throw? What am I looking to do? Right? And it looks like that one, no interference involved, just kind of slips out of the hand. And
yeah, Britt was trying to holster on that and then just couldn't secure it back into her hands. It happens.
Elimelech playing field marshal, moving her players around. Nice bear paw in there from LG and a swat from Matamor.
Solid
who's got
defense.
Mast going, but Mast elects not to take off, and we're going to get an injury call. Wilbur having to chase Dixon around, taking the injury, and we're going to get a substitution in for the Soul.
And that was a high stall look from Elimelech, but the disc didn't have much shape on it. It was flat, so Makeda was just able to put her hand out there and get that D.
So Mast finds right on the far side. Right back to Mast. Matamor shadowed by Gerald. And there's Mast. Her toes in. Seeing signaled out of bounds by the Soul players.
Looks like there's some discussion on the field whether it was in or out. The observer may not have had the best look. They were a few dozen yards away, but it's a goal nonetheless.
That is number 4, Rachel Mast.
If I'm the Soul, I think I'm a little bit upset about that. One of those is kind of tough to see, so as we get a replay.
Another one for Indy Red.
Mast to Matamor.
But at the same time, Rachel had separation, and if I'm trusting anyone to keep it in bounds, I would expect a Player of the Year 2025 to know where the end zone is.
I agree with that.
We're going to need to take another heat timeout, folks.
And we are going to take a heat timeout here with 2:37 left in the third. Indy Red are leading 13-8 over the Atlanta Soul. We'll be right back. This contest is in part sponsored by Discover Diversity. Founded in 2020, Discover Diversity creates spaces where black players can show up fully, play freely, and experience a genuine sense of belonging, especially within Ultimate Frisbee. Through intentional events and playing opportunities, we center community, leadership, and joy while celebrating the talent and resilience of black players. Our goal is to expand access, champion collaboration, and inspire the next generation of athletes.
Crossfire Tap heats up the week with great food.
Today's game is presented by Tomio Media, delivering high-quality storytelling for Indy Red on and off the field. Discover what Tomio Media can do for your brand or team at tomiomedia.com. We are also brought to you by City Yoga. City Yoga School of Health and Yoga is a locally owned yoga studio nestled in a peaceful residential neighborhood in downtown Indy. Take a break from the grind and focus on your well-being this summer. Use code RED25, all lowercase, at checkout and enjoy your first yoga class free. Scan the QR code to book. Everyone's Joy Photography, Indy sports team photographer and Indy Red's official photography company. Doesn't matter what you need, we got you covered at any event. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or online at everyone'sjoyphotography.com. Today's game is also brought to you by Tappers. Hey Indy Red fans, when the game ends, press continue at Tappers Arcade Bar, Indy's go-to spot for well-maintained arcade games, craft beer, and great cocktails. And we're back getting ready to come out of this heat timeout. Indy Red 13, Atlanta Soul 8. It's been heat, it's been execution errors, and I think if I'm the Atlanta Soul, it's been a lot of wishing that I could get Dina Elimelech in the downfield space a little bit more. When we talk about how important it is to get your full roster to games, and we know injuries happen, and this is the kind of days where injuries can stack.
All right, home crowd.
I feel like they're missing just a little bit of that connective tissue in the middle.
That puts us up.
That would let them to kind of, let them position some of their players a little bit differently. Dina having to play on disc a lot, a little bit more initiator, a little bit less finisher today. We've seen how effective she can be when she gets to finish in the end zone.
Keep up the hype.
On the Red side of things, incredible credit to the execution of the zone today. Stopping those looks, what you really do is you force a dynamic thrower like Quincy Booth to not even take her first or second or third look, but cycle into her fourth, fifth, sixth look, which really, really, really stagnates an offense.
Yeah, and Indy Red offense really figuring it out towards the end of the season here. Atlanta Soul, they are the league leader in breaks right now, and they are not able to convert like they have been this year.
Yeah, early on when legs were fresh, they were threatening to do that a lot more often, and now it's just been a lot of, trying to make sure the offense is holding cleanly. Thompson comes in but does not get rewarded with the disc. Move up to Gerald in the middle of the field. And a swing back nicely dug out
nice save
by Charlie Hawkins.
Charlie Hawkins on Soul.
And there we go. Griner shadowed by Smith. Red only in a person defense. I like that decision with no Booth and no Elimelech on the field.
Under 2 minutes left on the clock here. Soul's going to be a little bit conservative, but Red wants to sell out to get that block before the quarter ends.
Aycock swings back to the middle. Red defenders really making it tough on these receivers for the Soul. Montenegro nicely
defense. Oof. Forcing a high stall throw. Scooped up by Hawkins.
Yeah, and a little bit of red on red crime there, and slow to get up, but
seems like a pick called with a little bit of a crowd around the disc now.
So disc going to shift back off the stoppage. Swenson on the mark, Graber shadowing the off-handler. So a pick freed up the Atlanta Soul. So disc is going to go back to Hawkins.
Did look a little crowded around the disc. Inevitable picks when that happens.
Lets the red defenders like Lexi Thomas get back into a favorable position, though. So, all's fair in love and war. And Frisbee.
Still some discussion on the field right now.
Still trying to figure out positioning before the call was made.
Looks like there was a no contest, so probably some discussion on when the stall is coming back in.
Looks like we're going to coming and saying 7. And just an immediate float to that side. Layout from Acock, but not able to make the grab and keep herself in bounds.
Yeah, high stall, but if it's coming in on 7, you have time. You have more time than you think. I appreciate a high stall break side throw where you only have your teammates on that side. But maybe take just half a second before you make that decision.
The small roster they brought today and the heat.
So Quincy Booth is going to come in off the substitution for the injury. Acock taking a point off. Risa not able to shake free, but disc is moved ahead to Thomas. Looks for Lena. Not able to poke it through that inside space, but has a nice outside swing to Smith. Great hands from Laser, who boosts it to Swenson. Swenson skies her defender, but doesn't have anybody for the second look. Doesn't find Umeno. Has Lena for free for a hammer. Doesn't take it, but Risa cleans up the inside.
Risa, picks up that trash.
Abby does not like to throw that four-side flick throw. She wants a quick backhand, but sometimes it doesn't necessarily goes where you want it to go. I would love to see her step out, throw that flick throw.
On the clock for the quarter.
Well, something else interesting is Abby does love a hammer. And you
know.
saw Lena looking for it, because as you see
Wide
everyone
open
shift
there,
off,
too.
It's wide over. But as Abby went into that spin pivot, she loses sight of Montenegro.
Folks, that's another
It's the kind of thing where if we're using this game to make adjustments, KK, if I'm Montenegro, I'm coming off that point and coaching, having that player-to-player coaching with Swenson say, hey, look for that player to leech off me. You've got me wide open, and I've got so much space. If you just get that hammer off into that corner, I can go get it.
Really like that look, though, from Nina Laser Doc to Abby Swenson, who's, 6'1". Even though Abby's defender had positioning, Abby's tall.
Abby's really tall.
So you can just go up on your tippy toes and swipe it out of the air just like she did.
Also
Really
wanna
nice.
shout out
Something
that
we
next
haven't
connection
maybe
from
talked
Ellie
enough
Smith.
about
Nina
this red
got
game and
laser
red
on that
season is
point. We got a
just
lot of
because of
heat on
injuries,
Indy
Red
there.
haven't gotten to go
Despite
out
the
and
number
put
of
all of
buckets that
their,
we also have.
their tallest players out. But Riley Dixon, Laura Gerenser, Abby Swenson, Eileen Beckett, Red with a ton of players at 5'10" and taller. Huge advantage, especially when you're trying to counter players like Quincy Booth and Dina Elimelech, who pokes that disc straight through the red zone up to Wilbur.
Who looked deep and, of course, decided to holster because saw Eileen.
Not taking that continuation throw to Elimelech is, a smart conservation decision, but now the red zone is able to kind of get its teeth set. A little bit of a bump there from Kuznicki onto Booth.
The Wings here could, run back and forth, piston on the sidelines to make Eileen choose who to guard and open up more space for the handlers to move it back and forth.
And we get a fire call from the red defense and the red sideline. Elimelech immediately, starts taking advantage of that matchup with Phillips. Great defender, but Elimelech just, able to use her size and speed to shake free. Disc to the middle of the field. Mylink able to get on and set a mark. High floating swing to Elimelech. Phillips giving chase. And as we're starting to watch the rest of this possession play out, I think that fire call was maybe a little bit early from the red.
I don't hate it. I think that an early fire call can be really smart, especially if you're not, if you have someone like Dina in, because they can, both Quincy and Dina in at the same time. You can get lost in those, pointing to match up really quickly if you have someone like Booth there to pick it up and look to Dina right away.
Well, with a throwaway from the Atlanta Soul, the third quarter comes to an end. We have 1 quarter's worth of action left. Indy Red are leading 14-8 over the Atlanta Soul. We'll be back with our final quarter.
This is like what my wallet looks like when I'm trying to do my laundry. Only 1 quarter left.
Today's stream is brought to you by Discraft. The Discraft Ultra Star is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. If you are enjoying today's stream, please consider donating at indyred.org or by scanning the QR code. Indy Red is a 501c3, and all donations go towards player pay and travel costs. Continue the fire at Wildfire Tap, the ultimate spot for great food, competitive pinball, Sunday jazz night, and Tuesday open mic. Check out more events on Wildfire's IG. Today's game is presented by Tomio Media, delivering high-quality storytelling for Indy Red on and off the field. Discover what Tomio Media can do for your brand or team at tomiomedia.com. We are also brought to you by City Yoga. City Yoga School of Health and Yoga is a locally owned yoga studio nestled in a peaceful residential neighborhood in downtown Indy. Take a break from the grind and focus on your well-being this summer. Use code RED25, all lowercase, at checkout and enjoy your first yoga class free. Scan the QR code to book. Here in Indianapolis, we're back. Indy Red leading 14-8 over the Atlanta Soul. This game doesn't affect anything for either of these teams other than it's wear and tear on legs. It's a chance for the Red to explore their depth, for the Soul to figure out what it looks like to play with a short roster. But both of these teams into championship weekend. They've been there since last week. What do you think we're going to see in this quarter? Especially if you're coaching from the Soul perspective.
At this point, you just want to clean up your mistakes. You are treating this, yes, a win would be fantastic, but you're treating this like practice. You're preparing for champ weekend now. And, not to say that there might be, even though Soul is trailing right now, potential slight advantage for this team to get used to working together with a smaller roster, where you have Red working on things with not necessarily the same personnel that you're going to see at Champ Weekend.
Yeah, we're going to see some players now starting to break into different positions and, stepping up. You want to know that your depth can show up in championship weekend and really play hard, really go earn you opportunities. Give your top end some of the break as well now. See how they can show up and support and coach from the sidelines. And if you're the Soul, I think you're trying to make it through this quarter without injury, without incident. If we do nothing but go out and hold cleanly, it's a huge success.
And Champ Weekend isn't 2 weeks. That's plenty of time to rest.
Yeah.
Play your hardest today. Plenty of time to rest.
Go to poultry days.
Exactly. You're going to see a lot of players play at other tournaments this coming weekend.
Maybe if I'm one of the coaches of these teams, I'm like, maybe don't go to poultry days and go crazy. If you're going to play, use it for reps. And there it is. I was wondering if we were going to see it at this point. Kind of Dina's calling card of those incredible layouts, and she saves possession and keeps the disc moving for the Soul, who reward her by getting it going and throwing it away.
Oof.
A little too far.
Tough
for that
leading
receiver.
pass. The vision was there and the
vision
motion
was
was there.
there,
They
but
had the red defenders all
Red
out of position, but that throw
Gets an
just a little bit
opportunity.
too
And
far
you
for
know
Thompson.
how Red is. We love to win every opportunity.
And the red going to get yet another break opportunity here.
Yeah, we're definitely be super rusty if you're playing now.
How did you get this shot?
Montenegro walking the disc to the front cone and going to get us started for the red. Great defense from the Soul. Nothing easy inside, but Swenson able to shake free of her defender and move it ahead to Smith.
Visionary throw from Lena.
And Doc fakes the look to Graber, but doesn't hit it. And Risa has to sell out herself to keep possession alive.
Huge bid from
Back-to-back
Risa.
bids
Oh my
from the
goodness
red.
sakes.
Damn.
Just keeping things exciting for us.
Graber, long downfield look. And sails over the head of Laser. Just a little bit too much edge on that OI. And Laser not able to recover position. Swenson gets down and puts the mark on Ellie Melik. Swipe from Montenegro to Booth, but Booth just yeets it all the way down the field. And I love Huckin to play defense as much as anybody, but it's a little bit rude to do it on a day this hot.
Lena Montenegro not content to just play this game out. She is still out here trying to get a D on those handlers.
And I don't blame her, you know. I'm in championship weekend, but you called me over here to do things for this team. You know, brought me over from Milwaukee. I'm going to give it my 100%. Trying to shake free of Quincy Booth, able to get it in the backfield, just a couple yards into the end zone. Inside to Umeno.
Little bit clogged from the Indy Red Cutters.
And Graber, you know, after the long throwaway, doesn't take the second shot to Laser, but I love that look. Disc is swung to Montenegro. Red backfield doing a great job of keeping the disc moving. There's Laser, floats it outside to Graber, up to Montenegro. One of the things, you know, if we're talking about the wins that the teams are finding here, Red doing a great job of showing across their depth, we can keep the disc moving and be patient until we get the look that we want.
Soul looking a little tired, not necessarily trying to contest those short, small windows that Red has, that they've had all game. And you have Abby looking the middle of the field, and you still have that break side open, but everyone is looking it off because they have open side cuts available.
More importantly, the defenders all looking to stop that break side throw from going, and Lena just streaks upfield with all the time in the world and collects the pass. Indy Red go up 15-8.
In the air, folks. That is 15-8 for Indy Red.
So we see Swenson find it in the middle of the field, and
crowd.
you see just a little bit of hesitation from the Soul stopping the up line, and Lena just puts a little bit of pedal to the metal, collects it at that back cone.
Red with a pretty sizable, comfortable lead over Soul right now. I think, you know, they're not looking ahead towards Champ Weekend, but we can. And we know what the matchups are now. In the semis, we have Surge playing Soul and Shadow playing Red. So we have the DC Shadow matchup in semis. What do you think is better, playing Surge or Shadow?
I haven't seen the Shadow this season.
Yeah.
I know what they're doing to teams, and they're playing really effectively, but
Yeah.
I've seen Philly and saw what happened when I didn't bring my best, and on the one hand, I think I absolutely can go out and give Philly a better effort, you know, probably win that game, especially with full personnel, but maybe nice to see a team that is less familiar with you.
Folks, we have a double Riley
Acock,
point
Ford,
going
and
on.
Carver
Riley Kuznicki
moving the
and
disc
Riley
swiftly
Dixon.
across the backfield. Big
Talk about
fakes,
chaos.
trying to shift this red zone and find those openings. Wilbur ahead to Ford.
Ooh!
Huge bid from Mylink comes up
Oh,
just
she was
short of the
locked
block.
in. I don't know if I've ever seen Annie just beamline to a disc like that, full layout D. I mean, she's working in the front of the zone so often.
Mm-hmm. I love that look, but Indy Red defense not quite able to recover after that, and a few throws later. The Atlanta Soul punched that in for a clean hold. Their first in several attempts, and we're at 15-9 to the Red. So we see Wilbur punch that ahead to Carver, up to Aycock. Huge throw to space, up to Bedeau. And just gets Wilbur, who almost takes her time moving ahead towards that front cone and reels in the goal.
Just simply looking at the stats, I would prefer, as an Indy Red homer, to have the DC Shadow matchup first, just based off stats alone. Surge, the league leader in hold percentage. Their offense is very talented.
100%. 100%.
But then again, Indy Red, league leader in blocks. So, I mean, you have a classic matchup with, we've seen the matchup with Surge and Red. Really close, fun matchup. But they're two different teams now than they saw each other last.
Absolutely. LG getting us started. Loughran in a crowd. Saunders goes ahead to right, collects that with two hands, has Dixon. Dixon leaving one defender, going towards another, doesn't get it from right. LG breaks free, has Dixon, but would take a tough throw from LG. Needs an outlet. Matamore trying to shake free, and there's a high throw from Loughran. And I think that Loughran doesn't call the foul there. Little bit high for her. Was going to get it as she started descending. And a great effort from Mia Griner to come in and pressure that throw. And the Soul, with a break opportunity here at their fingertips, Griner takes to the front of the end zone. Huge launch downfield, finds Tori Taylor.
Fantastic read from Tori to plan and come under to read that disc really well. Number 5, Jeriel, the Purdue alum. And they're working against some maybe local past teammates.
There's a big rip from Griner. Will it stay in bounds? It will, but...
Oh, no.
Bedeau,
potentially.
I think we were both kind of dumbfounded at what happened there. I think Bedeau felt pressure, thought it was defense, and didn't securely bring the disc in, but it was her own teammate, Tori Taylor, who came in and accidentally played stopper.
Intimidated by your own teammate. Really not what you want.
Loughran winds up a deep shot, doesn't take it, has Dixon coming in, plenty of time, no one in the neighborhood. Shirley Saunders, yards of space, but no one in the area. Red offense just resets, goes back into their normal vert in the middle of the field. Little bit of disorganization downfield. You've got Dixon for free, and no one maybe capable of getting it to her in that position. Has to go back to the stack.
Yeah, I think you see a lot of Atlanta Soul poaching.
Yeah, and an injury call as this point extends. Charlie Hawkins going off and taking the substitution. Looks like no personnel shift for the Red. Happy to let this line keep going out and doing the work.
We did get a mass come in for Squid.
We did, correct. Yep. And that throw, just not able to reel that one in is Matamore. Masked poaching in the lane. And success.
Back-to-back turns.
Forces a tough throw from the Soul.
Low to the ground and dirty.
And Wilson going to pick this one up. Gerrans are in the backfield with her. Matamore off the initiation cut. We got a pick call, so it's going to go back to Matamore. Saunders sneaking free with a little extra space off of Chang. Matamore just puts it out to space, though, for right. Not able to bring that in with the left hand, though, and Doran is trying to get this moving before the Red can set up any kind of defense. Grips, rips, launches downfield, and she's got Bedeau. 3 defenders in the area. She brings it down despite the huge pressure. Winning a 3-on-1 is huge.
What a grab in the middle of 3 Red defenders.
Yeah, that athleticism and the patience it takes to make a grab like that. And we have a timeout taken by the Soul. Going to look to get an offensive line out there.
Timeout taken by Soul.
Strong play. And, you know, heads up play, great to keep your mental focus in check when you're down. It's hard to stay up energetically. It could have been easy to just let that disc go, seeing all those red players around you, but
none of this is possible
challenging yourself to get that disc, pushing your teammates. We're not done. This game's not over. We're going to play this all the way through the end.
6-point deficit with 4 minutes left is certainly tough, but you have this timeout to try to punch one in. You've got a heat timeout to come in and set a line and kind of get legs refreshed. Soul, not necessarily out of this game, though. It'll take some heroics from up and down their roster to see if they can, pull a win out of these deep depths. Indy Red, we're going to see a substitution out for a D-line. Thomas, Umeno, Laser, Montenegro, Graber, Chang. And, of course, Swenson taking the Wilbur matchup. Thomas gets her Ellie Mellick matchup back. And you see her, a little bit of Cleveland defense there, trying to get a hand on Ellie Mellick, but Ellie Mellick just straight across the middle of the field. There's a shot. Low, huge bid attempt from the Soul. Not able to bring that one in, though.
And not much choice to push your teammates downfield and try to get a score quick. That's the only way you can get back into this.
Some of these throws that the Soul have needed to sit up for just a little bit have been challenged so thoroughly by the Red this game that they're a little bit less safe. So we're seeing some of these faster throws come out now. And Chang's going to need an outlet. Has to put it up high to Swenson, but gets underneath it with no problem.
Jackie throws an orange ball on the field. That means timeout.
That was a great bail-out cut from Abby to just go to the other side of the field. But, of course, probably a wise timeout call when you have your handler stuck over in the coffin corner.
Tough position, though, to work yourself out of. If Jackie holsters that timeout for a couple seconds longer, she's got the disc in the middle of the field, 10 yards outside of the end zone, in a much more comfortable position to initiate offense from. Here we're still starting in that coffin corner, and we'll see the Soul get to set up.
Arguably the hardest place to set up.
100%.
Anywhere on the field.
So we'll see what kind of trap defense the Soul line works up. Coach Jones makes the call, walks off the field, and leaves it to her players to marshal. They're going to respond to the Red setup. And an offensive line right back out for the Red. Beckett, Saunders, Mast, Wright, Wilson, Mattimore. Rains on the disc with Ellie Mellick marking. It's about as scary as an initiating marker as you can have. They're going to get Mask. Great right hand, keeps the disc alive, doesn't take the swing to right. And the inside pressure from the Soul is still incredibly fierce despite the heat and despite the length of game today. Mattimore flips that ahead.
Looks like a hand block. It came off like a little feathery.
Anna Gustafson, who has her own cheering squad here from, composed of players of, family members from Atlanta and Michigan. There's the deep throw from Wilbur. A little bit of bump. Ellie Mellick, I think, caught Mattimore stopping to read, but it doesn't matter. Gustafson reels that in, and that's a goal for the Soul.
Despite a little bit of bump in the deep space. That's a score for Soul.
Interesting that now they decide to have Dina going deep for some scores. Maybe a little too late, dare I say.
It's going to be 3 minutes this time.
You always you always do your best work when in the most dire of moments, and I like that call to Ellie Mellick. We're going to take a quick heat timeout, and we'll be right back with our last 2:45 of the fourth quarter and of the regular season for both of these teams. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to PremierUltimateleague.com to donate today. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops. If you are enjoying today's stream, please consider donating at indyred.org or by scanning the QR code. IndyRed is a 501c3, and all donations go towards player pay and travel costs. Continue the fire at Wildfire Tap, the ultimate spot for great food, competitive pinball, Sunday jazz night, and Tuesday open mic. Check out more events on Wildfire's IG. We're back here in this heat timeout. Indy Red leading 15-10 over the Atlanta Soul. Soul have done a great job to earn a couple of these back. And we've got to wonder if, as we see them kind of start to set up some of these shots, if it's a little bit too late. You know, the Dina deep look making an appearance on the last one, drawing defenders and giving her other teammates a chance to go and collect scores. Gustafson reeling in the last one, but a 5-point deficit, which includes 4 breaks, kind of a tough position to be in and start, you know, running maybe some of your more obvious looks.
Yeah, you see both teams under the shade tents, getting some water, taking a moment. And, you know, I'll just take a second to talk about where some of these athletes are headed. Besides Champ Weekend, we have some people playing on Masters teams. We have a lot of these players on Indy Red playing for big tendinitis at Worlds this year, including myself. So they're going to London the weekend after they play in Champ Weekend. That's a lot of Ultimate.
That's a lot of Ultimate to play. You know, the Frisbee calendar is ruthless, and the better you are, the more opportunities you have to play, and the more opportunities you have to play, the tougher it is on your body. You know, we see, you know, it's one of the things that's been a huge advantage for the Red in this game is the depth is just, you know, every point you don't have to play is huge. So coming out of this heat timeout, we see the Red sending out an O-line, a lot of the normal personnel. You've got LG, you've got Saunders, you've got Mast, you've got Lochran. On the other side of the field, Quincy Booth trotting out there with Wilbur, Ford, no Dina notably present.
And then, of course, you have most of these players who are also playing on various club teams throughout the summer. So club season has already started. We got our first tournaments coming up here at the end of June.
Red will be on O, so on D coming out of this timeout.
So as soon as Champ Weekend goes underway, we get right into the club season, and then people are competing for a club championship.
But right now, it's the end of the regular season for both of these teams. Indy Red going out and looking for a clean hole to try to get this game feeling a little bit more comfortable. Control the things you can control, and a Squid sells out to try to stop the pull, and we're right into it.
I wasn't sure if we were going to see Squid come out because she went out with a little bit of an ankle thing.
Nice right hand from Dixon, keeps that disc alive. Saunders has Squid trying to shake free, not able to get it. Great defense downfield. LG pushes ahead to Rains. Rains doesn't take the look to Mast. Finds her on the inside, though. What an incredible change of direction cut. Rachel Mast doesn't burn a lot of clock, but the most important thing is it's a clean hold for the Indy Red.
15-10 for Red.
Nearly impossible cut to guard. If you do a good job as a defender, you're trying to stop that cut to the front cone. You've done your job. And Rachel's clearing out to the deep space creates the separation for Champ, and Champ has that throw. She can throw an easy inside out.
KK, if you like to break down the importance of cut shape, the decision from Mast there to not stop and plant and come and open her hips up to the backfield space and come across in that 7 cut, but instead turn over her left shoulder and a little bit more of that, out and away cut and then come back to the disc is huge because her defender, if she comes back to the inside, can kind of also plant with her and shoot across. But Rachel gives that, turn to the left side, makes it look like she's clearing out.
Yeah.
And then to just sit up and wait, great patience by Champ to watch that play develop and then hit that inside look. Great offense by the Red. They only burned 30 seconds of clock, so 2:15 left. We're going to get another effort here. Dina Elimelech marching out with the soul. Picks up and gets us started. No immediate centering pass, but gets Wilbur coming in on the high side of the field. And what a block from Mylink, who just gets a hand up in there and says, no, I don't think so.
Block from Annie Mylink.
Annie's having a great game. Got a couple blocks for herself.
I like Wong taking the moment there to kind of initiate Joe's for her, saying, hey, you're the most open person. I'm just going to throw it to space so you can go get it. Let's get moving. Joe's collects in the middle of the field. Back to Wong. A little bit high, but Wong uses the left hand to keep it safe. A little OIO to Phillips. Ahead to Wong. We're on the doorstep, and there it is. Wong to Humphreys. That's another break for the Red. 17-10.
Humphreys for the score. That's 17-10 for Indy Red.
And I love Humphreys getting involved. That's a young player. Super talented, used to playing a lot of on-disc for her team, the Indiana University Calamity Janes. Shout out to the Janes. And as we see this, we see Wong.
We're all proud of her for that.
Nice inside to Phillips, collects it back, and then just easy right hand to Humphreys, who just keeps the stack moving downfield and then finally has that breakaway to that side.
So you're trusting the person who is guarding Sammy Phillips, you're trusting the mark to keep that throw from getting off into the break side. And the fact that Jean has that, it was almost a blade. It was just like a flick outside around to the break side, which is such a nice throw. But if you can't stop those, the person on the mark can't stop those break side throws, then defense almost, you just get demoralized because you're trying to take away one side of the field. And at that point, if you're a downfield defender, you have to guard the whole field.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is impossible.
It's impossible. One player cannot take away the whole field no matter how good your mark is. And Indy Red staying in their zone. Graber steps up, and we are in play as the disc is picked up. Montenegro shadowing Booth in the backfield. Big old rip from Booth. Taylor has to rip her hat off to find it, and it sails to the left. She sails out, not quite able to bring that in, but an incredible effort.
Tori Taylor, incredible effort, very close to reading.
Tori Taylor has nothing but fight in her and doing her best to keep the soul energy up and moving.
It is hard to wear a hat when you're a cutter, especially if you're going to cut deep, because you have to look up for the disc, and then you can't find it with the bill of the hat.
Laser reels that in, but has no one downfield. Smith pushes it ahead to Montenegro, who throws it deep for Risa. And Risa sells out. Maximum effort by both of these teams this late into the game. Risa says, I don't need this hat. I'm going to get out there and play it. No injury. Let's keep going. At this point, might as well finish the game.
Huge throw from Lena trying to lead Risa back into the end zone, just way too far.
Like we said earlier, Lena's here to win, and she's going to shoot and shoot and shoot. Inside of a minute, Booth in her own end zone. Pushes ahead to Taylor. Calls for somebody to come back. Challenged, maybe a little bit deflected by Smith, but not enough. Doran pushes it ahead. And Bedeau is going to need to leave her feet for that one. Risa's going to pick up immediately on the sideline and get us going. There's the shot to Chang. Jam waiting for some options to open up. Gets to Graber in the middle. Inside shot to Swenson, who takes the shot downfield. Gets Smith with the toes. One more tacked on for the Indy Red, and Ellie Smith, who's bid and bid and bid for this game, able to get a score and get on the stat sheet.
I mean, if you're watching on YouTube and you click back a couple dozen seconds, you'll see some fantastic lockdown D from Smith. It's so hard to play defense for, 30 seconds to a minute and then streak deep for a goal. That takes a lot of endurance.
Great job from Smith there, keeping her toes in bounds. The Soul are going to have 8 seconds of live clock. And then one more possession, see if they can end this game on their terms. Indy Red are going to go out and hunt for one more block, one more scoring opportunity. Indy Red leading 18-10.
Strong show for Indy Red, building that confidence for championship weekend to take on DC Shadow.
And as we look at the Soul line out there, all the usual suspects, Dina, Martha Wilbur, Charlie Hawkins. 8 seconds and an opportunity to end the game the way that you want it to. Wilbur picks up. Joe stops the swing. Get Dina in the middle of the field. Has a player streaking deep. Doesn't take the shot. Griner moves it ahead to Wilbur.
Clocks are at zeros, and they opt for a deep throw anyway.
Yeah, and that's Jaski. Gets underneath it, gets the goal. And that's going to be one final hold from the Atlanta Soul. And in today, at the end of the regular season, Indy Red 18, Atlanta Soul 11. Both of these teams, we've said it already, but let's celebrate them now. Both of these teams go into championship weekend in North Carolina in 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure calling the games with you this year. Charlie, hope to see you next year.
Absolutely. This is our last broadcast, so we're going to do some quick shout-outs. Shout out to all of our volunteers and staff for these games. Joe, Emma, Crispy, Jazzy, RJ, Connor, Heath, of course, producer Heath. This doesn't go off without you. Dano, Donald, our Pride of Indy bands that joined us today at halftime. Sarah, Kelly, Joni, Marge, Vandell, Eric, Bob, Emily Wyckoff, of course, to our coaches Jackie and Joe. And if you came out and supported the Red this season, watch us on the stream. We're nothing without you. Thank you for your support, and get ready to get big for the Red in North Carolina at championship weekend. So one last time, for KK, I'm Charlie Lowe. We will see you at championship weekend, and we will see you next season.
If you want to support our climb,